Haha! And just like hair in a can, I have risen to the top. I topped the mountain where I'm actually standing. Look how pleasant this fucking area is. I never go out and do videos on site. But you know, it's kind of a sexy little area. Who the fuck you looking at, you piece of shit? You've seen it all. He fucking dodged and laughed at me. You piece of shit. Anyway, this is the SamSork, the build that I've been dueling on, the one that people want to know the build of. There's a couple things that you could change around about it. It's all dependent on how you prefer to play it. So, first of all, I'll get into how I play it, and then second of all, I'll get into how you could play it, and then third of all, I'll do the CP quickly. Okay, so try and bear with me. First of all, we'll do the motherfucking gameplay. So, with this, you got your buff, obviously, crit surge. You want that up straight after crit surge, like immediately, that, and as the duel's starting, because this is purely a dueling build. I've taken it open world a couple of times, and it just, sometimes it helps in a group open world. It's just not good solo, because it doesn't have, no way has the heals to be able to survive. So, what you want to do with this is you want to have crit up all the time, and that up all the time to take off some of the damage you're going to be getting, because that does, besides being strong and giving you that little tick of damage, it's going to reduce any AoE damage you take. So it's a little kind of bonus of having it. Plus, your vigor is going to be always stronger on your dual wield than anything else. It's a weak vigor, but this isn't a healing over time build. This is literally a dueling build. So I'm relying on the fact that I can melt people before they can melt me. I mean, before I even get into this build is by not any means the strongest build out there, or the tankiest, or the most cancer. It's just really hard to fight against, because there's so much defiles and shit like that. So, anyway, you're going to have that up, you're going to have that up, swap bar instantly, and then reverse it. The way I've got mine set up is triangle, circle, and I swap bar, and circle, triangle. So, for me, I put down that, and I'll always try and push away around that. So now I know that's there, I might heavy attack you and reverb you, and now push you back into it. Like, they'll forget it after the first stun. They'll look at it and go, oh, trap beast, and then they'll get stunned and go, oh shit, straight into the trap beast. So, the way I like to play is I have to trap these stuff all the time, that way I can kite them into it. We're going to have all of the gear first of all, so before we just finish off with that, God, this is a bit messy, this build video, isn't it? 2 axes, one with shock damage of some sort, extra chance of implosion, plus this extra single target damage once it procs. I know you do the shock to knock them off balance, and then you do the fire, but knocking them off balance, or concussing them, or whatever you want to call it, is going to give me a bit more damage anyway. Even if you want to disagree with that, I'm a SamSork, and the more shock I stack, the more chance I got of an implosion, because I was checking implosion out thinking, how can I like get that shit to maximize? And it's when you deal shock damage, you have a 6% chance. That's fucking low. But at the same time, things like Bloodspawn only have a 6% chance as well, and depending on how much you're getting wailed on, that shit procs all the time. So if I can up the amount of shock that I do, I'll up the amount of chances I can implode you. And that's at 15% health, that's pretty much carry. So I've got my 2 axes, both for bleed, 1 Nern, 1 infused. Infused extra damage, 1 Nern, extra damage. Duh. On the back bar, axe and shield. I've heard that having an axe, a dagger, a sword doesn't matter on the back bar. Either way, I just like to try and keep it that way, because you know it's part of your mentality, your bleed and everything. So you keep up the bleeds, it's easier to play with having 3 axes. These poisons are essential as fuck. I can't remember how I made them. You're gonna have to learn how to make them yourself. But they defile and they increase your healing done. So once that procs on something, let me see if I can find an ad round here. Once that procs on something, it gives you that tiny extra increase on your vigor. So when you get in like a combo, for example, your full buff, you've got your shit up, you light attack, refurb, you can swap back to that and have your shit back up. Can't find an ad right now, but you get the point. You do a light attack and it increases your heal. It's pretty essential for this build. Then you're going to want to have your Scoria. 2 heavy. The only resistance I've got on this build is the 2 pieces of heavy armor, so I thought fuck it. Divines as well, so it's basically damage gear, but it's still heavy enough to make me a bit tankier. As much impen as you can get. I did go 1 well fitted though, just to take off some of the strain from my dodge rolling if I have to, because I have the
are all idiots.
Wow, ad just rudely interrupts. I do have 1 well fitted to take some of the damage off of like how much it costs me when I roll, because I have nothing into that at the moment. So obviously you're going to get your first one for cheap, but then after that if you're still rolling it's going to cost. And I don't want that shit to cost me an arm and a leg, because it might actually cost me an arm and a leg in a duel. yeah, so you've got your impen, 2 divines and the heavy pieces, just so heavy but still keeping with damage. And you've got, yeah, Slodes, Bone Pirate, and Scoria. With the jewelry, you don't have to go all damage. I went 1 infused just so I can get extra damage but still keep up some robust. But if you want, you can swap it out and put on some recovery. I've got the recovery Mundus on this because this is literally a dot proc defile. You don't really need weapon damage, but the more weapon damage the merrier. You can nuke someone at the same time. Yeah, so that's it for the gear. Let's get into the fuck it, we'll just do the CP. Fuck the gameplay, you've already seen some of the clips, I'm probably going to put some of this in it anyway.
It's in the right door, not the left.
So here's the CP. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Warlord, so we can reduce the amount of stam we're losing when we break free. Because we're going to have inputs up the entire time, but if we don't have it up and we're not blocking or something happens, then it's not going to come out of too much, because, you know, we don't want to lose too much stam in general. 10%, 10%, which is typical. And here's where this build starts getting nasty. 55% out of the foul. So if I go into my reverb, check this out, with all of the shit I'm doing, with all the dots and the defiles and shit like that, we've got 46% for 10 seconds. I know that's getting reduced down to 4 seconds, still 4 seconds in it. That's a duel on this character. Duels last 4 seconds, so that plus that, which is already 4.4 seconds, which I'm working with, you're gonna have a, what's that, 40, so that is a 69% defile, almost a 70% defile on people. So you put a bleed on them, and it's like they can't heal even further because they're having to heal through the bleed. So if you wanted to add that as a percentage defile, that's up to you, but it's harder healing with a bleed on you, obviously. And there's going to be this bleed, we're going to have Slodes on them, going to have Scoria on them, and I've tried running Sheer Venom instead of the Bone Pirate, but you just have too much weapon damage, not enough resources, and it's near on impossible to survive. So, back to CP. Green tree's 100 in foul, basic here, and then you've got your 21% there. Don't have to go 21%, you can put a bit in sprint off, that's just how I feel comfortable. 34, 43, 43, same on every stand character I play when I'm fighting anything like PvP, just so I can get that Unchained passive. And then we've got Ironclad to reduce direct damage taken, try and keep them even, because Fortified Brass versus Impreg, Fortified is actually tankier, I feel like, because most of the time people don't crit you. A crit is like a chance to do more damage. In general, you're going to get damage taken, so having good resistance is, in general, better than crit resistance. Unless you're coming up against someone who purely crits, which is very unlikely. Have some into your crit resistance anyway, though, just in case. 12% is the lowest I'm willing to go at Mighty here, because like that is literally the cap I feel that you can go to without, like the cap of, no, I'd say the bottom of strength. So you're going lower than that and you're going to be feeling it, it's pretty weak. Penetration, important when you're doing anything, especially in duels, because you don't know what you're coming up against, so you might as well penetrate it if they're tanky. Most people usually are tanky in duels. Crit heals, massively important. 19%, I know people are going to be moaning about that and say, oh, 20%, I feel that's better rounded numbers. That's just OCD. 19% is a good rounded buff, keep it there. The extra points that you put into it is not worth the extra 6-7 points when you can round up other shit like getting Tactician. So, you want to have 23% here, so that your reverb, your low sweep, your puncture, whatever you're using, all of your shit's going to hit harder, because obviously you're a single target in a duel. You're not trying to AoE anybody. And then in that, you can get 25% into your light and heavy attacks to increase your, you're going to be light and heavy attacking the entire time. Light's in between your abilities, heavy attacks while you're sustaining. That allows you to have Tactician, so when you do dodge, you can get that random attack in there and knock them to the floor. And then you have to reverb them, because that's your chance to defile if you can't catch it. And that's it for CP. This shit is fucking nasty. I'm going to put in a clip and just, maybe I've got a few clips in here that I can add into it, but... Did Nelson Arena for the first time. Wow, Meteor, you just the worst time, bro. oh, you actually never beat it in general. Nice, okay, well, whatever. You just exposed yourself in this video. Good shit, Meteor. Good shit. Let me just quickly reply to him and say, good job, B. Anyway, that's the video. I'm gonna add a couple clips in for you guys, but my stats are looking like this just so you've seen them. I prefer to use tripods to keep up all my shit. This is with the recovery necklace on. You don't have to go recovery, but I think the more recovery is definitely the better. If I go and light attack something, tell me there's something around here that I can light attack. That Zergon. Maybe he'll let me light attack him. Come here, you. Hi. Please? I'm a bald woman. No. Take your heavy sack. And let me light attack you just so I can get a picture of my stats. Thank you, buddy. Is it here? Yeah, okay. 4,100. He ain't here then. Yeah. You saw how much the damage goes up. You don't need to have your damage up that high. It's way overkill. Once you get that light attack reverb, light attack low sweep, try and get them in the trap beast, light attack rendering, and you can just chase them around doing that. Make sure your shit's up, spin to win, and it's just that. In terms of playing this a little bit differently, I like to have trap beast. Extra damage goes a long way. But you can put on Dark Deal, but then obviously you've got to be careful because you want to have that up all the time, and that up all the time. I don't like juggling my magic when I'm doing stamp. You can take this off, and you can put on either this for more heals, just spam it, it really works. Like, when you can't spam it until all your shit's up though, so you got to make sure you just file, low sweep, you got your dots on them, you're all fully buffed, and then just light attack flurry, light attack flurry, light attack flurry. Spammable, works, but don't do it if you're not completely, all your damage is up. Or you can use Shroud Dagger. Shroud Dagger works really fucking well, because when you have to back up, you've got no range in the field, so you can roll around a little bit, throw one of these out there at someone, proc slows, proc scoria, loads of shit that can happen. I've tried out a couple different helmets for this, like if you want to put on Storm Fist works really well, because you can throw out your Shroud, and that'll proc in the distance, giving you more chance to implode someone if they're low health. You could run Lord Warden, like in general, 2 Warden, or you could run 1 Lord Warden, 1 Mighty Student, but the thing about that is when all the procs, you're going to get a tiny bit more resistance. But in general, that is one fucking tanky, strong build. But you're better off with Scoria. The extra pressure is insane. So, you Zergling fucks, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to jump off this cliff.
Peace, motherfuckers.